So thanks everyone for coming. This is the Yes Internship Program info session. We've got a great event scheduled for you today. We've got Harvard Ventures to talk a little bit more about who they are. They're helping us run this event. And then we've got a couple startups we'd like to introduce you all to. But let's just get into it. So Bruhu, do you want to introduce who we are?
Awesome. Hey everyone, my name is Bruhu. I'm the president of the Yale Entrepreneurial Society. You guys probably know Yes, but just as a quick intro, we're the entrepreneurial center for all undergraduate entrepreneurship on Yale's campus. One thing we're really passionate about is making sure that we can connect y'all with some awesome internships, but also enabling everyone who wants to build a startup with all the tools that they need. We're really excited to be hosting this event with Harvard Ventures. And yeah, as a general overview, other things we do on campus is host awesome speakers. We're going to be having Jenny from Rent the Runway come in a little bit. But in general, we're really excited to be kicking this program off for the summer.
Hi, everyone, and really good to be here. We are Harvard Ventures, and we are the largest undergraduate venture capital and entrepreneurship organization on Harvard's campus. So really, like, our one rule is to build something cool or at least try to. And so a quick intro about myself. I'm Annie, co-president of Harvard Ventures. I run a startup called H2OK Innovations. We help manufacturing gain comprehensive real-time visibility in industrial liquid systems and allow smart industrial systems, but really am excited and passionate about building this entrepreneurial ecosystem at Harvard. And really excited to be here with Virginia, who's also my co-president. Virginia, you want to take it away?
Thanks, Annie, and thank you so much, Matthew and the Yale team for organizing this event. I'm, like Annie said, I'm another co-president of Harvard Ventures. I'm a junior from Dallas, Texas, and I also have run a startup. It's an advertising agency for mid-sized consumer brands, and I'm working on another startup right now in the commercial real estate space. And like Annie said, we're the largest undergraduate venture capital and entrepreneurship group, and I'll get into a little bit about what we have to offer for students. Obviously, we're really excited to partner with Yale on this internship program to help students find summer jobs this year. We also have something called VentureWorks Startup Accelerator. We ran that last semester. Annie helped run that. And we'll plan to run that again this next fall. This semester, we're running the I3 Innovation Challenge. So if you have a Harvard startup, please apply. We have about a month left for you to apply, and we've given out over $700,000 in equity-free grants. We also are running Harvard Business School networking panels this semester, and we'll continue doing that throughout this year with a lot of HBS students, but also HBS professors. We have the Bottom Line podcast we launched as a result of being evicted from campus back in March, throwback. Had like 5 days to move out, was kind of crazy. Anyways, on a whim, we started reaching out to executives, and we've interviewed Mark Cuban and Gary Cohn and David Rubenstein and several other executives on Spotify. So look us up, Harvard Ventures. And I see that Yale's also interviewing amazing interns as well. So check theirs out on their Instagram. And then we also have founder-focused networking events with investors and entrepreneurs. Obviously, we've helped student founders raise more than $150,000 plus each for seed round and Series A rounds of investments. And then finally, we also have a week educational boot camp called Comp. If you're at Harvard, that's the process of joining a club, but we educate students on venture capital and entrepreneurship. And I will hand the rest over to Yale.
Awesome. So here is the agenda for the event today. First, we'll introduce you all to the program. Then you'll get the chance to learn a bit more of our partners. So we're presenting 3 of our current partners today. And we're also going to be having some of our past partners talk a little bit about themselves. You're going to get the chance to meet some of our current interns as well as past interns, learn about their experiences. Then we'll talk about our whole application process, what that entails. We'll give you all some tips. I got my recruiting team here to provide you guys with some tips for the written application and through our super interview process. Then we'll talk to all you international students or who are probably wondering how y'all will fit in. And then we'll open up the floor to Q&A. So let's just jump in. Great. So what's the Yes Internship Program? We're an initiative built out of the Yale Entrepreneurial Society. We got started in August of 2020. So Bruhu and I, we co-founded this program to really just connect talented students with talented organizations. Our one goal is to increase accessibility to opportunities for mentorship, job opportunities, the opportunity to really expand out your entrepreneurial network. We know that a lot of you are really entrepreneurially minded and might want to start your own startup, but you just don't know where to start. You don't have the network, the toolkit. So we're trying to get you connected with some early stage startups with some exciting people to really get the ball rolling. So our program is referral based. What we do is you submit your application to us. We learn about who you are. We really take the time through interviews, your written responses to get to know you. We also get to know all the startups in our network very well. We have tons of calls with them, with their founders, with their executive teams, with past interns that they're working with at their startup, as well as interns that they've worked with like maybe 3 ventures ago, just to make sure our partners are truly the best, that they're all going to provide you with really great experiences. So what we do is we go through a pairing process, and what that entails is we submit a referral to you to one of our startups. We send them an intro about you. So we hype you up in this nice intro. We send resumes, LinkedIn's. Most of our accepted applicants always get their internship experiences. So what we're doing is just connecting you, undergraduate, with some really great startups. One note, we're called the Yale Entrepreneurial Society, but this program is open to students from all schools. So everyone should feel encouraged to apply, and those applications will be opening on March 8th. So here is our program by the numbers. For our second round, which concluded in January for Winternships, we had 75 plus startups. Probably by our summer round, we're going to have over 100. We have 125 current interns, some of them you're here from today. And then this is a stat I'm just super proud of, 200 plus interviews. We really want to give everyone the chance to get an internship. We had 300 applicants last round, over 2/3 of them interviewed. So it's not like we're just throwing your resume onto a pile and doing some sort of screen. We're really going to give you the opportunity to showcase who you are. So we're always going to be reaching out for as many interviews as we can. Great. So now you'll get the chance to meet some of our companies.
Awesome. So the YES Internship Program's network of startups spans cutting edge companies and founders. As you can see, our network includes companies backed by Y Combinator, SAS Ventures, Artemis Fund, Golden Seed, and Acceleprise, among others. YES is also an in-kind sponsor of the Clean Tech Open, helping students find internship opportunities at growing sustainability companies.
Great. So we have a pretty diverse range of startups in our network. The 3 we're going to talk to you about today are super interesting. So we've got 1.5. They're in the consulting and sustainability space. They're founded by Neil Yah, who's not only an amazing entrepreneur, he's got so much experience in consulting, education, engineering from Adelaide, Oxford, and Yale. So he's just a great mentor to have. They're doing a lot of interesting things to keep our planet below 1.5 degrees, which is how they are named. So they're a really great startup that we're super excited to have on board. Next, we have Calico. Calico is a startup founded out of Toronto, which is where I'm from. So I'm super excited about that. They're in the production management industry. So they're helping companies manage that facet of their business. We're looking for 3 interns to help out with marketing, software development, and graphic design to help them continue building out their platform. Finally, we've got Fireox Foods. So if there are any Yaleys here, you guys all know that Yale Dining has really stepped up for this semester. Fireox Foods is one of the companies helping provide those meals. They've recently partnered with Yale Dining. So they're founded by Zoe Geller and Jason Yang, and they're absolutely amazing, making vegan food just taste super good. I think I might go vegan because honestly, the meals they're providing are awesome. So now it's going to be time to meet some of our past partners.
Yeah, and again, I'm John Frades, by the way. I'm the director of internships at Harvard Ventures, and I'll just go into a little bit of depth about some of the past partners. So Dwelling is a virtual home maintenance platform to help consumers keep their houses in top shape without the hassle of finding a professional in person every time something goes wrong. Think of it sort of like telemedicine for your home. Last year, Dwelling partnered with Harvard Innovation Labs in addition to onboarding one of our interns, and they're currently going through YC. We're lucky enough to have Nick, the founder, on to talk a little bit more about his company.
Awesome. Thanks for the introduction, John. And thank you to the YES program for having us here today. So my name is Nick Ornes. I'm the co-founder and CEO of Dwelling. I, from background, went to Cornell, graduated in 2016, so go Big Red for anyone that's listening from Cornell. After Cornell, I followed the path of what a lot of folks do, is go to New York, worked in consulting, and really enjoyed it, but had an itch to found my own business. So found myself applying to and getting into Harvard Business School, where I knew I'd have time to work on a startup. And at the time, I was thinking about a company called Homebox, not the best name, and that later evolved into Dwelling, where I met my co-founder, Shannon. And we had this idea of, why is everyone so frustrated when they have to call a plumber, pay $200 to have a button reset on their disposal, and they could have just found that out online. So we've been connecting homeowners with professionals to diagnose and troubleshoot repairs over the past several months, and we launched in May. What I wanted to talk to you about in addition to Dwelling today is just a little bit about what I wish I knew when I was in your shoes and how much of an amazing opportunity this is, what an intern does at Dwelling, and then just a couple lessons learned. So what I wish I knew in your shoes is, one, that oftentimes to found a business, it just takes a little bit of getting over the activation energy. I was a chemical engineer undergrad, so a little bit of a nerdy play on learnings there. But oftentimes you just need to start building and testing your idea. And I think getting an internship experience with a startup is a perfect way to see how that happens in real life. From the outside, it looks like everything is a polished, shiny car. And then on the inside, you realize that you just need to start testing ideas. Likely to this is actually not being afraid to fail. So not looking, again, from the outside at startups, it looks like everything is going well. They're in this publication, they're in that publication, but you realize that there's a lot of hurdles along the way. And so learning that it takes failure to actually learn from that and realize what people don't want to then build what people do want. And then thirdly, I think it's just the thrill of building something that people are using. Many of you have probably got some exposure to startups, but getting your hands on and seeing a user interacting with your product has been an absolute joy. And so what all this looks like within a startup and an internship with us specifically, which we've been working with one intern from the YES program, is that intern gets to wear many hats. So he's been working on developing a website creation tool for home service professionals, as well as doing cold calls, sales, outreach, not the most fun thing in the world, but you learn a lot from it. And then even doing product feature prioritization and brainstorming. So really seeing everything from marketing to sales to product. And I think that's what a lot of the startups on the YES program have to offer. Going forward with Dwelling, we're actually going to be focusing on building a communication tool for pros, not only this marketplace that we've been working on, and hope we can see some of you this coming summer.
Great. Thanks, Nick. The next past partner that we've got is the boarding school. And the boarding school is a mission-driven nonprofit with the goal of recruiting young people to serve on the boards of organizations that directly impact their lives. Last year, the boarding school actually onboarded 6 of our interns in various roles, both technical and creative. Now I'll pass it off to Julia, one of the founders, to go into a little bit more depth.
Thanks so much, John. Hi, everyone. My name is Julia Wesa. I am a recent graduate of Harvard College. So if there are any Harvard undergrads out there, go Crimson, I guess. Like I said, I graduated just this past May, and the opportunity to lead the boarding school actually fell into my lap while I was serving as the vice president of the undergraduate student government at Harvard. In particular, at Harvard, our board of directors is constituted entirely by alumni of the university. And as the vice president of the student government, I had not heard once from the board of directors, which I thought was odd. And these 2 2018 graduates of Harvard College came to me with the idea to get a cohort of young alumni onto Harvard's board of directors on a climate justice and inclusive governance platform, connecting the ideas that Harvard had not reflected the university's or the university student, alumni, and faculty consensus around fossil fuel divestment because their board of directors is not representative of the current alumni pool today. Like I said, because of my personal experience, I was really enthusiastic about the idea of getting people who had more recent experiences as students on the board, progressively got more involved with that campaign, which was called Harvard Forward, and ended up ultimately getting that slate of young alumni onto Harvard's board. And eventually came to lead the boarding school as its executive director. We focus specifically on getting young people educated, placed, and supported on boards of directors to break down some of the institutional barriers that keep them out of the governance of the organizations that make decisions about their lives. So the primary flagship tool that we use are these campaigns like Harvard Forward. We've since spread to Yale. Thanks, Yale Entrepreneurial Society. You may know this already, but we have a campaign called Yale Forward that was trying to get a recent FES graduate onto the Yale Corporation on a similar climate justice and inclusive governance platform, and have since spread to other organizations that have a particular impact on young people in the sports and entertainment worlds. We supplement that work with education around boards of directors, which is not something that a lot of young people get, and a community of young board members so that they can laugh, commiserate, and learn from each other about what it's like to be the youngest person in the room. This past semester, like John mentioned, we had 6 interns from the Yale Entrepreneurial Society, one of which was working on building out our website, Catherine, and I believe she's here to talk about her experience potentially. But she's done an amazing job specifically working on building out a membership platform so that all the young board members that we're looking to connect can interact with each other completely hands-free on our website. And we had another intern working on building out our brand to really create a narrative around young people as people who can be valuable contributions to boards of directors, which, spoiler alert, is a difficult thing to do and requires a lot of creativity and knack for the digital space to create that narrative around. We have another pair of interns working on our educational programming to develop trainings and webinars designed around the topics of fiduciary duty, board governance, and relationship building geared towards young people. And then a team working on our community growth, reaching out to as many young people interested in serving on boards of directors and currently serving on boards of directors as possible so that we can have them share lessons learned and best practices with each other. Happy to talk more about this in the Q&A section.
Awesome, great. And I actually just noticed Beth, who is the managing director of the Clean Tech Open. I'm going to drop her message in the chat again. If you want to check out what they're doing, please do. They're amazing. So next, we're going to get the chance to meet some of our current interns and some of our past interns. And Annie, I'll let you take it away.
All right, it's Virginia. I'm going to do this one. So obviously, I haven't interned at one of these startups, but just one of our interns from Stanford at Dexy is working with NLP on unstructured text data. And also our applicants at Rentberry, a startup improving the renting experience, is conducting market analysis on data with regards to long-term rent space trends. And then we also have many interns working in market research. So for example, we have an intern at Blue Space, an autonomous vehicle startup, exploring international markets and researching overseas competitors. And then interns at Rocket Ansky, a cybersecurity company that aims to make passwords obsolete. They're working on cloud computing, and they're also learning about software architecture, testing, and development, which is very cutting edge.
Hi everyone, my name is Amay and I'm a sophomore at Yale, and I had actually interned at PatSplit, which is a company, which is a startup which focuses on more affordable housing last year during my gap semester. And I was basically working with the Beaver and SQL to kind of data and store information for them to make data analysis a lot easier for their QAs. And towards the end, I was also learning Behave to kind of help them with auto testing on their staging website. And yeah, I their like work environment, it was like I came and got this internship through the YES program, but it was a really professional environment. I was treated as an intern. They were really considerate about what I wanted and my goals and kind of worked towards that. And I mean, I always had a mentor who I could just go to and ask questions to and like generally like clear all my doubts. So I think overall it was a great experience for me.
Hi, everyone. My name's Emily. I am a junior, but technically still a rising junior because I'm on a gap year. And so I have spent ever since the beginning of December working with Hammerhead, which is a startup that basically is working to build a consumer-friendly cycling GPS computer. So if anyone out there is a cyclist, highly recommend you check out their new product, Karoo 2, which just launched for regular sales. Basically, I have a background in biology, statistics, data analysis, but I actually went into Hammerhead to do marketing analytics. And it's something that I've never done before. But right away, I was thrust in immediately, and I actually got to make the sales projections and our goals for 2021, which was really exciting. Our work culture and environment is really the thing that stands out about Hammerhead to me. It's been a great experience. We have unlimited paid time off, as well as the fact that because, everyone's pretty active, we're allowed to leave work at any time and just set our slack to working out for an hour during the day, which is really cool. We've also had lunch lotteries, which I've won once so far. Basically, you get a stipend to like have lunch and meet other people in the company. I've loved the startup environment, especially because I've been able to work with so many different aspects of the company. So I've started to take over customer communications, work with our support team, also work with our software team, and actually get a little coding practice, even though I only took one computer science class. So I've really loved my experience, and I'm very grateful to Yes for providing me with this opportunity.
Hey everybody, I'm Sean and I'm a sophomore at Harvard, and I'm working with Republic Real Estate. So it's pretty cool because the team's like it's less than 10 people, right? So that's pretty cool. And like at Republic, I don't really feel like an intern. I just feel like a kind of like a fellow employee. And Republic's been really great because like they're super receptive to new ideas. Like I joined doing like business development type stuff, and now I'm doing or I'm creating a tool for them to find like profitable pieces of land, which is pretty awesome. So if you get the chance to work with Republic, I'd take it just because it's pretty awesome. They're democratizing investing or private investing for everybody, and I think it's going to be the future.
Matthew, you're on mute.
Sorry about that, everyone. Before we start talking about our application process, just want to mention that we are completely committed to equal diversity and opportunity. We exist to help all students of any background acquire internships and build their careers. Our startup founders come from various socioeconomic and cultural backgrounds, and our network comprises women-led startups such as City Seed, and then also women-led investment firms such as Golden Seed and Artemis Fund, which you just heard about, cultural organizations at numerous schools across the US, and partners of all colors looking to bring on equally diverse applicants. So with our summer round, one thing, first of all, we're looking to partner with even more cultural organizations to increase the diversity of our applicant pool. And then we just really want to stress that any applicant from any background should just feel completely comfortable to apply.
Great. So how does the application process play out? We know that the recruiting and application process is really stressful. And in fact, our main goal is to reduce the anxiety associated with job recruiting. But applications are necessary. And in order for us to do a good job pairing you with a company, we need to get a comprehensive look into who you are. So in regards to the application process, you can expect our questions to be similar to a job or college application. So really standard questions about your experiences, education, and interests. Also be expected to be asked which of our partnered startups who you would prefer to intern at. And once you've submitted your application, you may be asked for an interview. These will be more like casual coffee chats that will give you the chance to really explain what makes you tick and what kind of internship you're looking for. And then based on your responses, the Yes internship program will then pair you with startups for internships. And once we put you into contact with one of our partners, they may go through an additional screening process, such as technical interviews. And really, we want to emphasize that it is up to your paired startups as to whether you'll be getting the internship or not. And what the Yes internship program is doing is basically submitting a really strong referral for you and getting you through the door. And so as Matthew mentioned previously, last round, over 85% of our referred applicants were accepted to the startup that they were paired at. We want to make the entire process as easy for you as possible. So if you ever have any questions or want to talk to one of our recruiters, definitely feel free to shoot us an email or reach out to us individually. And our startups are diverse and unique. As a result, we want our applicants to be diverse and unique. So no matter your past experiences, whether professional or not, whether for pay or for volunteer work, we want to hear about who you are and what makes you you. And essentially, we want all candidates from entry level to leadership. I'm also going to pass it on to Matthew to continue talking about the application process.
Yeah, so like I said, our applications are going to be opening on March 8th. We're going to have an early action deadline on March 15th where you can submit your applications a little bit early, give us some time to get to know you earlier so we can start pairing you up with startups. Startups are always so dynamic. They're always looking to bring people on as soon as they can. So that's what this early action deadline is for if you're really eager to join one of our partners. And then our regular application deadline, that'll just be March 22nd. So now we'll just jump into some tips I have, and then my recruiting team will jump in throughout the entire application process. How it works on our end is each one of our recruiters, our team is around 12 strong. We recruit for 5 of our startups. Usually each recruiter kind of takes an industry. So Matt, you'll hear from today, kind of has a focus on the med tech startups. For me, I'm pretty technical, so I usually take the technical startups and then a wide range of others. But so we're really just looking for people who are really interested in the industries and the startups for. One major tip I have when you're writing your application is just to be really thoughtful. I've seen applications where responses are literally 2 sentences, and then responses which are 5 paragraphs, competitive analysis of the whole startup, of their competitors, of the product space, ideas of new features they could add. And you can obviously tell which one I'm really going to want to get to know, which one I'm really going to try and find an internship experience for. For me, effort's the biggest thing. If it really looks like you took the time to really write a thoughtful application, I'll do everything in my power to get you an internship. We have startups and founders throughout our network who are just kind of always asking Baruch and I to find them interns. So there'll always be that one intern in the back of my mind who wrote that competitive analysis on, even if it's not in the application process through the S internship program, that I'll just make that connection for. So even more so for the S internship program, just looking for that effort and that thoughtfulness. A few basic things that I hate hearing, but it's so true, is just resumes. Make sure that's updated, make sure that you're talking about not just what you did, but the impact and what you learned from doing your entire project work. It's really helpful for us just to get a sense of who you are. So when we interview you, we can really learn more about each of those specific experiences and already have some preliminary knowledge on who you are. Then some minor things, just elaborate on like some of your career goals. What we like to do is match students who want to go into consulting with startup founders who have worked at maybe McKinsey or BCG. That's something we always like to see. Always take the initiative to reach out to the recruiting team. We're always here. So you'll see my email at the end. And as my recruiters talk right now, you'll see those. So Steph, you want to kick us off?
Yeah, for sure. Hi, I'm Steph. I'm one of the members of the recruiting team, and I definitely echo what Matthew said about effort. And I want to take that a step further and say that we're really looking for a fit. And there's a couple ways to show that you would be a good fit for a startup. And I think the biggest way is showing that you've done research, not only on the startup itself, but on the space. So for example, if you're applying to a sustainable food company, knowing kind of what the trends are in that industry, being able to use the jargon that those founders would be using is a great way to show that you really are interested in that specific area and that specific startup. And then I think I generally focus on the less technical startups where it's a lot of people ask me like, how do you differentiate between different applicants? And I think one way is hearing, I think, kind of like Matthew mentioned, about how your past experiences will help you have the perfect skill set for this position. So really showing that not just saying that I've done this, but why does me doing this in the past make me the perfect candidate for this role in the future? And then the third thing is, because a lot of these startups have pretty small teams where you're going to be making a huge impact from day one, it's really great to see you take some sort of initiative and to have shown that you can take this initiative in the past. So these things don't really have, we know that a lot of people are freshmen and sophomores applying and they might not have a ton of professional experience, but showing something like I helped organize this political campaign, for example, would be a great way to show that you have taken initiative in the past and have these skills that are necessary for being successful in a very fast-paced environment. And I'll pass it off to Raymond for his tips.
Hey guys, I'm Raymond and I'm one of the recruiters on the team as well. So in addition to the pointers that Steph gave, I think it's also really important that you rank your startups very carefully. So during the last round of applications, each applicant could rank the top 5 startups that they wanted to work with And looking back, the vast majority of our applicants who got paired last round were paired with one of their top 3 choices. So when you're filling out the application, make sure that you visit our website and go through our entire catalog of companies. Because if there's a really good company out there for you, but you didn't rank it, that will dramatically reduce the chances that you'll be paired with them. And beyond that, if there are any other lingering questions about the pairing process, I'll also be staying a bit after the presentation to answer them. And from here, I'll pass it on to Matt.
Yeah, so I would definitely, I'm Matt, I'm also on the recruiting team. I would definitely agree with everything that Raymond and Steph said. In addition to that, I would say that, interviews are really one of the best ways for us to get to better know applicants. So last semester, I was interviewing one student for a healthcare startup. And even though she didn't have experience working in the healthcare sector, she ended up being one of the most impressive applicants for that healthcare startup because of her interview. So she talked about some of the research that the startup was doing on different types of ventilators and treating COVID and why that specifically interested her. And she also brought up some of the data science courses that she'd been taking that she felt would help contribute to that kind of research that the startup was conducting. And of course, she ended up getting the internship. So I would highly, highly recommend just going through the different startups that are available, picking like 1 or 2 that really speak to you, and then do some research on them and talk during your interviews about why they interest you so much and also how you feel that you can contribute to their mission. And then I think Elise is just the recording, right?
Yep, so you guys will get to hear from Elise now.
Hi everyone, my name's Elise and I'm a student on a leave of absence from Princeton University and I'm on the internship team. So here are some tips I have for the application and interviews. First, be clear and concise with your answers, but still make sure that we get to see who you really are. Your personality and interests are really important in our pairing process, so be sure to showcase the things you're most proud of. Second, I would say know what role you wish to fill. It's really helpful for us if you know your skills and express them through the application. And finally, I would say don't forget the details. While it may be easier to write vague answers, specific examples about your past education and work experiences will help us to make a worthwhile pairing. For the interviews, I'd say the number one thing I looked for was enthusiasm and if the applicant was prepared. It was great when the student knew details about the specific startups they were interested in, what positions they were most excited about, and if they had any questions for me about the process moving forward. The internship team is really excited for this next round. So if you have any questions at all, feel free to reach out to me. My email is eliseh@princeton.edu. Hi.
And just to reiterate some of the important deadlines, applications open on March 8th, and the early action deadline is March 15th, and then the final deadline will be March 22nd. So keep in mind that we'll be reviewing applicants on a rolling basis. So the earlier you submit your application, the higher the chance of being paired with one of your first choice startups.
Great, so now it's a shout out to all the international students with us. So first thing, one of the main questions I get from international students is when they're applying for an unpaid internship, whether they need OPT or CPT. The bottom line is no matter what, if you're working in the US, you do. Even if you're working for a nonprofit, it can't immediately be considered as volunteer work. If you're, for example, like counting ballots, then you're directly benefiting your community. That's pretty easy to argue as volunteer work. But let's say you are developing a website for a nonprofit. That distinction isn't so clear, and we like to kind of stay away from those gray areas. So we recommend against that. So bottom line, if you are going to be in the US when you're taking on these internships, you will need CPT or OPT. On the other hand, if you're outside of the US and you're working remotely, it's a little bit more open. So if you still have F1 or J1 status, that's when we get into the gray area again. But if you're not on F1 or J1 status, you are outside of the US on a leave of absence, you will be able to work for a US company. I would also just check in with your international office of international students at your school to make sure. But the one that is probably the most lenient is if you will be working remotely outside of the US for a startup that's not in the US. So we're bringing on lots of startups from the UK and Canada who will be able to provide those opportunities when we release our catalog that Raymond mentioned, which is going to include all the positions we're offering for our summer round. We'll be indicating which startups are located out of the US. So for you international students, if you're working remotely from outside of the US for one of these companies, that might be possible. Those were a lot of hypothetical situations. Feel free to stick around for the Q&A and I'll answer any questions you have. Finally, I just want to extend an offer out to everyone here to join the Yes Internships team. We've got a great team of recruiters, as you just met, marketers, software developers, really across a whole range of talent. Raymond, the reason he knew so much of like who was accepted is because he works also on the data analysis team. So we got a whole bunch of roles. If you're interested in getting involved, feel free to reach out to me. My email is matthew.nam@yale.edu. But from here, I think Bruhu, could you pause the recording and then we'll just stick around to answer any questions you have. It was great seeing you all today. See you later, guys.